bombshell is efforts to hijack the IRS as a political tool. Any other night, that might be the top story. We get to that with J Flannery next. The Trump DOJ is busy indicting people. We've been discussing the relative strength of the new case against a Trump official, John Bolton, who served in the first term. But there's a lot more going on in general, and I want to turn to that now. A chilling report on the Trump administration openly plotting to use the IRS to target opponents. The Wall Street Journal, a Murdoch-owned paper, says there's an overhaul, and the idea is sweeping changes that put political allies or enforcers in some of the top jobs in the building, which enables the pursuit of left-leaning groups, and that leads to politically motivated probes. A senior IRS official involved in the effort has drawn up a list of potential targets that includes major Democratic donors, the people said. Now, let's be very clear. This is the alleged abuse of federal government powers, and the IRS, of course, goes through all kinds of private secret info. And just as the political branches are dealing with the threats and now charges against some individuals, so how do you oversee the executive in Congress when you're in danger of being investigated, indicting by the executive? Now, on the money side, which of course matters in our politics, they are trying to go after the people that fund the opposition and maybe scare some of them. Maybe people will back down. Maybe they're hoping that, just like media executives and other corporate CEOs have done, and even college campuses, maybe some of those donors will just pull back, which of course furthers the autocratic crackdown. The Nixon tapes, as I mentioned earlier in the program, have exactly this kind of stuff in private. He wanted the IRS to go after Democrats so that he would basically be able to cheat, and less likely that Republicans would lose to Democrats. And they knew exactly the kind of ruthless person they wanted in charge of the IRS.
Are we going after their tax returns? You know what I mean? There's a lot of gold in that.
I want to be sure what you're saying, Walters, yes. I want to be sure he is a ruthless son of a that he'll do what he's told, that every income tax return I want to see, I see, that he'll go after our enemies and not go after our friends. Not as simple as that. If he isn't, he doesn't get the job.
Nixon was boldly pushing to abuse power. In that chapter, we know how it ultimately ended. We are now in the beginning, under 25% into this scheduled four-year term of this president. We're joined by J Flannery, federal prosecutor, former congressional counsel. Your view of this rather damning set of allegations, sources reporting in the Journal?
It's a continuation of Trump's bag of dirty tricks. Ironically, the term "dirty tricks," I think, to my knowledge, was the first time I heard it was during Watergate. Lists of people and so on and so forth. You have to wonder in this case if DOJ wasn't a way to identify some of the targets now they're going to chase or not. But the shift, which is interesting, the balance here is you have a president who has done everything he can to author a distribution of money to the wealthy at the same time while he wants to shrink those funds that could be made available legitimately for Democratic campaigns. So he's trying to hurt, not just hurt them in some sort of a vanity way, but compromise their ability to make a difference in a campaign. So he's trying to eliminate, whether it be how we draw districts for election, whether or not we occupy Democratic cities, all of these things. And so he's kind of, if you look at it, it's often been said that the power to tax is the power to destroy. That's what the government said in a case when the states tried to tax them. And this is the first principle of Trump, whenever it involves money, whenever it involves deals. So he has a whole series of things he does. He will first defame you, then he will terminate you or compromise your job, or he will prosecute you, or he will threaten to deport you. He will do anything he can, and now he will tax you. He will tax whatever group you're in that he doesn't like. If you're doing something with the ACLU, watch out. If you're doing something that has to do with the environment, watch out, because he's already done that on the other side with the budget. He's taken the budget, and in contradiction of what the Congress would approve, he's out there cutting funds for different issues he cares about. None of these people are identified as Democrats, but they're Democratic issues. So he tells the public they're Democratic issues. So what's wrong with all this? We talk about selective and vindictive prosecution. That's this. We're prosecuting. We're going to pick out people just because of their politics, not because of anything they're doing wrong. It's vindictive because he's looking to find a way to win an election improperly by limiting the funds that can go into the election. There'll be statements that are false that will trigger these investigations, and by the time it's cleared up, elections will be over. Funds may have been reduced or captured.
And what are the lessons in terms of dealing with this? Because I mentioned some executives say, oh, they'll run and scatter, and maybe he'll pick on somebody else. That doesn't seem to work.
No, it doesn't work. You can't win a fight that you don't enter. The Irish phrase, is this a private fight or can anybody join in? This isn't one that you do by choice. This is one you have to do. This is about your very existence. If you're a significant contributor, you're also a person who believes in what you're putting the funds into a campaign for. You're putting time into it. You're bringing people into it. He wants to scare people on all those levels. And so we have to be resisting and fighting it. If the statements are false, we have to say it. If they're going after weak targets to make a point, we have to talk about it. And the fact that so many are silent when Obama is inviting people to be involved, when the governor of Illinois is saying, get out there and fight. And the No Kings thing on this weekend is, I think, an important moment to say all of this going on. It's really hard to deny that this guy isn't making a march to monarchy, that he isn't an autocrat, that he doesn't seek to compromise our liberty now and your liberty next time.
Well, and you just reminded everyone of something Rachel Maddow had also said this week, that there is great resolve, and even if you want to use the word bravery, from a lot of people, regular people who don't have their own army of lawyers and consultants, going out, standing up to this, exercising their rights, and yet it will take, as mentioned here, donors or others, to at least match the fortitude of those individuals if they choose to resist. And in this case, according to the IRS reporting, it's in their own interest as well. J Flannery, thank you tonight.